Hey everyone, good morning. I am so excited to have my friend Katherine here this morning, and I am right in the middle of getting our climate issue going for the November 10th launch. So this is going to be live. We're going to do a great party on the 10th. So if you guys are free that evening, I would love to have all of you with us. It's going to be a great night. We're going to have Pete, who is our friend climber here. He's going to be talking about what does it mean to fall and get back up 30, 40 times, and what does that look like for us as event planners to do the same thing. And I'm so excited to be interviewing a few of our climbers that are going to be presenting their stories in this issue. So I have got Katherine here from AAP, now past president of AAP. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thanks for this opportunity to highlight AAP and also how we've climbed during this pandemic.
And you have done a lot of climbing. I love what you've submitted to me. So that's going to be something we'll save most of it for the issue. But I'd love to hear a little bit about you, what brought you to AAP. And then I know this has been a big shift for you guys, not just at the national level, but you've probably seen that through all of the different chapters right across the country. So tell us a little bit about you to start.
Sure. So I actually became a member of AAP in around 2010, looking at a way to network with other admins in the area specifically. And when I did a Google search, we used to be called the Association of Administrative Assistants. And over the years, we've done a name change, a marketing rebrand. As you can tell by the colors, we've moved away from, I want to call it the old school mentality to something that's new, fun, uplifting. Part of my original goal was really to learn from my peers and to be mentored and also to upskill, right? At the end of the day, it's really how do you make yourself better as an individual, as a human being. And this association has brought forth a multitude number of opportunities for myself, but it's also given me the ability to expand the network, which I think as event planners, we need our network. We need that ability to be able to connect with peers who go through the same things that we do. And the association has done such a tremendous job with pivoting during this pandemic, changing the way that we do things in the norm, but also embracing the change. And I think that's really important for an organization to grow during these unprecedented times.
I love how you say embracing that change, because if anything is constant, it's change. And that has always been, even long before the pandemic really started to mess with what our event schedules have been. When you look at the change, and I love what you're saying about how you got involved and why you got involved, because the nature of being part of an organization like this, and like we said, the branches across Canada really is not just scaling up, but probably also understanding how to navigate the change together. So it's not just that everyone's muscling through on their own. Have you seen that over this last year, how they're actually coming together?
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, especially with branches that are closer to geographically together. They tend to do more things together. And I think part of it is really understanding that our branches are the core support system for those that are in their local communities, including those that are members at large, right? Because we do have a members at large community. And I look at national as kind of like the umbrella that kind of brings everyone together. But I also love the fact that branches are sharing their initiatives with the other branches. I think it brings a sense of camaraderie, but also it shows that you're not alone, right? You're not alone. You have your peers that can be there to support you. And we thought of it as a way of how can national support these initiatives at a branch level, or how can we help them not feel like they're alone in this journey. So that's how we came up with the national webinar series, which actually has tremendously increased engagement levels with our members all across Canada, because it's a forum for them to be able to connect. And I mean, Lisa, you've done a series for us, and it was amazing. And being able to connect from East Coast to West Coast, it was fantastic. Being able to be in that same virtual room, but having that ability to learn during these times. And it's really important for us to remember that our branches are still there to support our members in those local communities, but they're also growing. And for an association to, I want to say, increase their branches during the virtual time, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing thing to say. You know, we created 2 new branches. Our Atlantic Canada branch has expanded. Used to be just Moncton, but now we've expanded all across the eastern provinces. And also when we had launched our Red Deer branch just at the beginning of the pandemic. So, and they're still going and they're still strong. And it's just wonderful to see it. And Red Deer's been so active with engaging with both the Calgary and the Edmonton branch. It's really nice to see that there's that partnership between our branches.
Mm-hmm. And I from what you wrote for me that we're going to be putting in the next issue of Moments, you were talking about the value of volunteers. And I think that's sort of what you're saying here too, is that when needed, they're stepping up and they're willing to partner. They're willing to think a little bit differently. You had a conference you were supposed to be putting together last year, or you were putting together last year, and it's shifted. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we'd actually decided as a board that we were just going to move it to the next year. Mm-hmm. But we also wanted to be able to, because we still love the in-person perspective, but we've never done a hybrid approach to it. So we are hoping, we are planning on making it, there's going to be a hybrid component for those who can't make it to PEI next year. So we will be offering that option for members and non-members to attend virtually for that particular one-day workshop, which is great because we've never been able to do that before. I still consider it a little bit of luck. I think we got lucky because we were planning these technological advancements before COVID hit. We had our strat plan in place. We had our initiatives, and I think it just helped push those initiatives a little bit faster. We also wanted to make sure that for our AGM or annual general meeting, we were one of the first to be able to do that virtually. And it's definitely a learning curve. Absolutely, right? At first you're like, how do we as a group, pivot to using this and using tools that we have available to us, but we've never used it in this capacity before, right? Yeah. So we've actually had great turnout in our virtual AGMs, which we've never had that many people attend before. So that was really nice. And again, it was the concept of, okay, so we've done this before. We've done this twice now, 2 AGMs. We have to do it. We have to continue this virtual component because people are loving it. People are actually wanting to attend, and it's once a year. We ask our members to attend our AGM because it's a way for all of us to connect with each other, whether it's going to be virtually or in person. I think it's still important. I think it's important that you have a voice. And really, at the end of the day, when you're talking about volunteers, it's what you put into it that makes your experience in these associations and these volunteer opportunities. When I joined the association for the first little bit, I was just a spectator, right? Like just looking in to take, but once I started getting involved and then you put a commitment into that organization and then you start doing things, you see, the value that you as an individual are contributing to that organization and the impact it has with other people around you. And I love it when new members ask, oh, what can I do? Because I think it's so important to be, if you're involved, you actually understand what the organization is all about and the impact it has in our profession. So
yeah. And I think when we talk about volunteers and the time you put in, and this is something that has come out through some of the other conversations I've been having lately, but it might sort of logically feel like you just feel busier or more strapped for time and maybe more stressful. But like you say, as you get more involved, where you actually find that the ways to actually invest, but then you're getting something back from that too. So there's this give and take. I'm reading a book called Give and Take right now, where it's not just about giving all the time, but there becomes this kind kind of a rhythm to it where it really becomes
Mm.
part of your life. And I've seen that with the times that we've had to chat to. Tell us a little bit about where you personally are looking forward to 2022. I am excited to share your story in the magazine, but tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to. Like, we've all been on this climb together, and we're using that analogy because it's so relevant right now, and not everybody's found the route yet, but it's really about keeping on climbing and personally being in the headspace and the heart space to do the work that we're really meant to do. What does that look like for you when you look at 2022 for yourself?
Well, I think personally, I think really meeting up with people again face to face. I think those relationships
Mm,
are so important, and a big part of that is going to the events, going to these in person meetings, and really like embracing it. Like, don't get me wrong, having the hybrid component is really important for those, hey, who don't feel comfortable enough yet to attend, but also if they are able to, there's a different way for them to be able to connect in that perspective, right? But I think part of the climb is really learning more about yourself. And that's what I'm really looking forward to for 2022. From a professional standpoint, like our careers are changing, our professions changing significantly. We've realized, that there are things that we can do in a hybrid or a remote environment versus coming into the traditional Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? So I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
going to be really interesting to see. But I'm also a big proponent that we still need that connection. And whether it is coming in once or twice a week, just being able to connect with your teams, that's what I'm really looking forward to. Being able to see people, like interact with people. I'm not going to go hug everybody, but I like at the same time, I just want to be able to have those face-to-face conversations, attend training again, like in-person training. Virtual training is great, but being able to do it I think you learn so much more when you're in person, and you almost like get motivated by those around you,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the big thing. You get motivated by the people that are around you that's so into the training, and you feel so much more rejuvenated when you
Yeah.
when you leave out of there. You want to do so much more, right? But yeah, it's rebuilding those relationships and reconnecting with our members as an association, and also going beyond that, right? So with the virtual component, we've been able to expand our reach internationally with our partners at IMA and IAAP, as an association. So what can we do next? What can we do together next? I think it's really important to keep that momentum going. Even though our environments are changing once again, it's just a never, as you said, constant change, right? But
Right.
it's great to have that network because you can learn from each other. You can learn from what you've done and what's gone well, what hasn't gone so well, and how can you pivot? That's like the 2021 word of the year. How can you pivot, and change it up so that in
Yeah.
2022 it's more of a success? So
Exactly. Well, you and I, thank goodness for Zoom, or obviously for the
yeah,
phone, old school phone calls.
yep.
But we've had that chance to build a relationship over this last year and a half, I guess, 2 years. It's been
I
a little bit
know.
of a little
Crazy.
bit of time. It's been a while, and I'm so encouraged that I'll be able to see you face to face coming up in June,
Yeah.
for the conference, which I'm really excited about. And I totally agree with you. As much as this has been my world, and this chair in this little office has become my world, I am so excited about starting to see people face to face, and the energy in the room and the connections that are made, I think, a little bit differently when we're face to face and in person.
Absolutely.
So I'm so excited to be able to meet you for the first time in person
I
coming up
know.
this year. Well, I guess next year, 2022. But thank you so much for writing for the magazine, for sharing your climb, and for really continuing to climb. So many people need AAP to be here next year and for the years to come. So thank you so much for the time today, and I look forward to sharing your story in the next moments.
Thanks so much, Lisa.